I'm the Dollar Sportsman. Thank you guys for watching today. You have seen me shoot the ELR boat tail slugs on my channel from Zan in the past. And with the advances in boat tail slugs now out on the market, with Corbin coming out with them, and some other brands that are now all starting to create these boat tail slugs, Zan, I believe, decided they wanted to do something even more. So they came out with the HYPERLINES. Now this is just the first initial test to see, are the ballistic coefficients really as high as they claim? And how consistent is it? Let's find out today. Keep watching. Very special thank you to where we are now, Utah Airguns, right here for letting me come and shoot in their range today and for sponsoring our channel. They are great sponsors. The guys are just super fun and super cool. And if you need anything, including slugs, you can check them out, UtahAirguns.com, or if you get the chance to come into their store, they've got this beautiful 35-yard range where I'm at now. The lights are awful for filming, but it's great for shooting. So come check it out. They're going to have a new range very soon with 100 yards. 100 yards. It's just so super cool. I'm very excited for that. So check it out, UtahAirguns.com, or check them out in person. Also, a very special thank you to Zan Projectiles for sponsor our channel and make stuff like this possible, because I shoot a lot of slugs. Because I like to. I do. And they are a great sponsor who have helped me out for several years now, because I started shooting their stuff when it was just regular slugs and they were super good. So if you need some slugs, you can check them out, and that's why I went to them eventually and said, hey, will you sponsor the channel, because they just rock. So there you go, zanprojectiles.com. You can also pick them up here at Utah Airguns. Okay guys, so the slug game is heating up. We've got new slugs coming out, it seems like every single month, boat tail slugs. And the idea behind these boat tails is that they are extremely efficient. Their ballistic coefficient is incredible. So Zan was one of the first to come out with the ELRs. And these were boat tail slugs that I've tested on my channel. And I saw 2-inch groups at 250 yards, which is incredible. The idea is that it can buck the wind really well because of its shape. So let's open one of these up. So not sure if you'll be able to see this. Let's see if it'll focus. Hold it up to my face here. The boat tail means the taper in the back. And the stability, in order to get this properly stable for an air rifle, took a long time of testing in order to figure out. And Zan came out with these, and they were 42.3 grain slugs in 22. Now that's extremely heavy. I've got my FX Impact M3 here, which was the only 22 that I own that was able to shoot those, because they go so heavy in order to get the stability for that boat tail. They started to come out with other iterations of it, and other companies did as well. Corbin came out with a 40 grain. Zan recently came out with a 36 grain boat tail slug, which is pretty impressive. And then they came out with this, which is totally different altogether. These are the HYPERLINES. Now, these are 40.7 grain, so a little lighter, which is good. Still heavy, though, for a 22. And the idea was that they have this coating on them, which is supposed to be much more resistant to friction in a barrel. You can get higher speeds with it because of that, and with those higher speeds, it's going to get to your target quicker. And the idea, I believe, and this could be totally wrong science, by the way, but I believe the idea was so that it would increase the ballistic coefficient, because it's going faster, but it still maintains that same shape. Now, there are some slight differences in the shapes of these. Again, I'm not sure if the camera's going to focus on this or not. I'll try to zoom in and show you. But there is more of kind of this middle section in the HYPERLINES, which is touching the barrel, and then it tapers off a bit. It's almost like it's got the tip that doesn't touch the barrel at all, and then one kind of belt around it, and then it has the boat tail again. But the idea of this coating is that it's supposed to be less friction so you can get it going faster and not foul up your barrel as much. That's the idea. So in this video today, what we're going to do is simply do a ballistic coefficient test. One of the only chronographs that I know that can actually get a ballistic coefficient without calculating on your own computer, which you can do, by the way, is this. It's the FX. It's the True Ballistic Chronograph. Now, these are fidgety. You have to point it in the perfect direction for it to accurately pick up the speeds. And here in a controlled environment at the Utah Airguns range, we're going to try it. for that reason. And I've noticed that before, but the advantage is that it can calculate ballistic coefficients instantly. So we're going to try that today. And we're going to test, this is part one, to see are the ballistic coefficients as high as they claim, which is 0.273 on the box here, which is pretty dang impressive if it can get that high. Now, is that an average? Is that per shot? We're going to find out today. And I will give the caveat that any ballistic coefficient reading on the box of any ammo of any kind, firearms, air guns, doesn't matter, will always be different than what you actually get in the field for your rifle. And that's very important to understand. You can print anything you want on a box. It doesn't really make a difference. You have to find your own ballistic coefficient if you want the most accuracy, and if you're using a ballistic solver, you're going to need that. So we're going to test that today out of my M3. This is not tuned for these slugs. It is tuned, however, for the ELRs. So it should be close, but we'll see if it maintains the accuracy without being properly tuned. And I will tell you that as well, when you are doing slug testing, you really need to tune your own rifle, either to have a general tune that kind of overarches a bunch of different kinds of the slugs, which is very hard to do, by the way, or you've got to tune it for that slug specifically. So I'm going to just use the assumption that it's going to be close because it's the same manufacturer and the same general size, but it is different weight, which messes with the tune, and it is different frictions on the barrel itself because of that coating. So we're going to see what it performs as. And just give it the initial test on the ballistics. Now, next time you see me out with boat tail slugs, we're going to be doing some long-range stuff, which is going to be very cool with another rifle. Yeah, you're going to have to watch for that. It's going to be fun. It's going to be cool, similar to what I've just done on my channel. So be watching for that. But let's get to the test today. I'm going to put a full mag through this and see what the ballistic coefficient turns out to be. Here we go. All right, let's see how these do. What speeds we're getting here. Dead shot. 955, okay. Pause for effect. My actual shots, you're going to see some variability in the impact point at some moments and not at others. And the reason why, I didn't realize this until after filming, but my moderator had actually come a little loose, and that was affecting my impact points. So just keep that in mind as you watch. But anyway, back to the ballistic coefficient test. .396, that's interesting. Very, very, very high. Somebody explain the science to me. That's pretty intense. But what you're going to notice here is no shot went out. And you're going to see me jiggle the magazine several times from here on out because I start having that occur frequently. For some reason, the slugs were not advancing the magazine. And I'll talk about that in just a moment as to what could cause that. But anyway, here we go. Keep going with shot count. There's .396 again. Do I believe it? I don't know. Somebody explain to me the science. right. 0.218 G. All right, so the average ballistic coefficient was 0.218, but the ballistic coefficient G1 was 0.256. Holy cow. That's extremely impressive. Extremely impressive. So you can see we had some variations in shots. This is not tuned for these slugs at all. They're actually tuned for the regular ELR slugs. And you have to tune every gun to every slug that you shoot if you want the most accuracy. Now you can see down there, we had a few flyers. That could have been me very well. This is a lot of power in this little gun, so it does have some rock. A lot of those were very accurate, but some were flyers. Again, could be me, could be just the tuning. I'm very impressed, though, with that ballistic coefficient G1 of 0.256. How we got that, I don't even know, man. That's crazy. Crazy. So 0.256 of the shots and the average being 0.218. Pretty impressive. So we've tested it at short range. I don't really want to tune this any because this is set up for the ELR standard slugs and I want to keep it that way. And I also want to test some of the Corbins out of this, so I don't want to touch it. But we do need to test this long range, so let's see if we can get the chance to do that or not. But very impressed with the ballistic coefficients on this so far. That is the first time that I've shot these HYPERLINES. Now you will notice that I kept having to jiggle my magazine. And that is because these are so thin that they're not cycling the magazine all the way for some reason. So I'm not sure what's going on with that with respect to the cycling. Cycling can be an issue sometimes when you have slugs that don't fit entirely in a mag. And these will not fit in the standard M3 mags. This is actually an M4 mag that I got to fit these larger slugs in, and that's how I get it to work. However, it looks like maybe there's a little bit of space there so that it's not cycling properly, because if you have space between the top of the mag and the slug, then sometimes it won't cycle because it gets bound up a little bit on the slug in there. So the fact that these will not work on a standard mag, you need an M4 mag, and then it's also having a little bit of problem cycling. That is a concern. So some people have, I noticed that out of my 30 cal as well. There was space between the face of the magazine and the slugs, and so they'd rock back and forth and they wouldn't cycle. There are ways to work around that with different heads on the magazines, different caps, so that you remove that space and so then you get consistent cycling. And there are some folks that make some third-party magazines that may very well take care of that issue. But in terms of the ballistic coefficient, I am pretty impressed that we got some as high as we did. I mean, really impressed. So the box claims 0.273. As a note, guys, never go off the ballistic coefficient of any box of any ammo in firearms or air guns or anything. So I appreciate the fact that they have that, but you always got to test it for your own gun and see what the real ballistic coefficient is out of your rifle. It's going to be different every single time. I can almost guarantee that. So check that out. The average ballistic coefficient of 0.218 that we saw here, let me go ahead and turn that off. Still very impressive, though not as high as the box claims. But we did see individual shots going almost 0.26, which is unheard of in the airgun world. Heck, that's unheard of in the .22 world at all. So extremely impressed with what they've done with that. The speeds were consistent except for some. We had some odd variability in there. I'm going to need to get an airgun tuned where I can use all of these different kinds of slugs. Foreshadow, and see if I can find a central tune that works for all of them. Because I would like to test the Zan ELRs, the Corbins, the HYPERLINES, and see what they do at distance and the ballistic coefficients that they end up getting, because I am just totally floored and amazed by these boat tail slugs that have come onto the market now. It's taking over the slug game by far for accuracy and precision and being able to buck the wind. And I'm very impressed with that because I like to shoot long range. And if I'm going to shoot long range, I have to have something that can buck the wind very well. And these are pretty freaking impressive. So more videos to come on that, y'all. Hope you check it out. Thanks again to Utah Airguns for letting me come and shoot in their range today. It's been fun. I'm the Dollar Sportsman. This has been the first test on the Zan Huperlines. We got more coming. I'll see you next time.